Please welcome to the stage CNN host, author, and founder of Dream.org, Van Jones.
Hey, hopefully I won't have any hiccups either. Look, I stand before you as a very proud Democrat. I work for Barack Obama. I'm on CNN. My politics are on the left side of Pluto, I promise. But one of the things I'm most proud of is that I've been able to work with Democrats and Republicans to pass bipartisan criminal justice reform, and I mean Republicans and libertarians like Newt Gingrich, like the Koch brothers. One of the bills I worked on was signed by Donald Trump, and he handed me the pen in the Oval Office. That was weird, okay? So, getting a chance to work with groups like the Dream Corps, Cut 50, Reform Alliance, and passing, again, 20-plus criminal justice bills in red states, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia. What did we learn? What did we learn? And how can we do more stuff like that, where strong partisans come together and get stuff done? 3 lessons. Number 1, don't let the battleground obscure the common ground. Don't let the battleground obscure the common ground. We're supposed to fight. In democracy, you get to disagree. Dictatorship, you can't disagree. You have to agree. Democracy, you get to disagree. So where you disagree, you should fight. But where you do agree, you should work together. And on criminal justice reform, what we found out was, for us, on the left, it was a justice issue. Racial justice, social justice. This is unjust. Newt Gingrich said, I understand your justice concerns, but for us, when you have a $90 billion prison system, a $90 billion incarceration industry that is producing horrible outcomes for people, from the right-wing perspective, that is a big, failed government bureaucracy. It's a big, failed government bureaucracy. He says, from our point of view, we see it gobbling up too much money, too many liberties. From our point of view, as a Christian conservative, he said, where's the second chances? Where's the redemption? How can a fallen sinner rise again if you never give them another shot? He says, as a conservative, I can't support what's happening in the prison system. And I said, well, where you been all my life? I didn't know. And it turns out that while I was speaking for justice, I didn't hear him speaking for liberty. So we got together and we had a Liberty and Justice for All coalition. And we helped 25,000 people get out of federal prison safely, smartly, who didn't deserve to be there. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. How did we do it? Lesson number 2, do the doable first. That's all. The first thing we did wasn't big federal legislation. What we focused on was women behind bars are brutalized. In fact, when they're pregnant and trying to deliver their babies, they're often shackled in the middle of the delivery. Right wing and left wing said together, now that's something we can't tolerate. And so we created something called Dignity for Incarcerated Women as these acts that we began to run in red states. People said, man, that's ridiculous. If that's 0.0001% of the prison population. What about the big issues? What about solitary confinement? What about the death penalty? We said, we'll get to that later. Let's do the doable first. And we started passing those bills. And more importantly, we started working together and learning each other and caring about each other. And we were able to, by starting with something small but powerful, build a huge coalition for positive change. Last lesson. The energy is in the synergy. The energy for change, for real change, is in the synergy between the opposites. That's where you get the energy. It was because we had Jared Kushner, whose father had gone to prison, and who understood the pain of that, in the same room with people like Jessica Jackson and Topeka Sam, grassroots activists who had suffered the same fate, that we were able to pull everybody together. We got 87 votes in the US Senate for criminal justice reform. It would have been 88 if Lindsey Graham had gotten off the plane in time. you can't get 88 votes to change the post office name sometimes. But the energy was in the synergy. And so in closing, I say, why stop there? Why stop there? Why not do something on voting? Why not do something on other issues where we can bring the two sides together? As for me, I want to expand the table for criminal justice. What if we had tech geniuses like we just saw involved? We're going to have another tech genius right after me. What if you had finance? What if you said, we're going to take the incarceration industry as an industry and disrupt it? The same way we disrupted commerce with Amazon, the same way we disrupted taxis with Uber and Lyft, the same way you disrupted hotels with Airbnb. What if you said, look, if you're going to spend $100,000 on a poor kid to lock him up, $100,000 for one kid, and when that kid gets out, it's going to be a year later, and that same kid is going to be different in one way. More tattoos, and that's it. More tattoos, and still in trouble. Let's compete. That's a terrible model. What if you had the tech bros and the black grandmamas sitting around the table and saying, you give me that black child, you give me that brown child, you give me that poor child, and $100,000. And look what we can do with them. What if you use competition and innovation and solidarity to challenge that system, disrupt it? I guarantee you some of those kids would become doctors, lawyers, astronauts at a much lower cost. You could bring down crime, cost, and incarceration, make the world better. Why? The energy and the synergy is when you have that black grandmama, and you have that Latina auntie sitting there with that finance guy, and they're starting to figure stuff out. That's how you get change. There's an old saying, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum to put it on, I can move the world. A lever long enough and a fulcrum to put it on, I can move the world. What is a long lever? It's 2 points very far apart from each other, but holding on tight. Holding on tight. Let's hold on tight and move the world. Thank you very much.